According to Biological Diversity Act, every panchayat in India should have biodiversity management committee. It is mandatory for a biodiversity management committee to prepare a PBR, that is People's Biodiversity Register. In PBR, it's not just about the biodiversity existing here. We have to document even the traditional knowledge of the people you are using this biodiversity. It's very important. If you are a citizen who have a voting right in your panchayat, you are eligible to be part of BMC. Anyone interested in protecting biodiversity can be a member of the BMC. Only thing is, you have to be a person who has a voting right in that particular panchayat. Half of the members should be women, and there should be one from scheduled caste and scheduled tribes to have a representation from the indigenous community. Biodiversity Management Committee has the right to say no to anyone who is disturbing biodiversity to a landscape level. If a person is collecting a lot of biodiversity or any flora from a particular area, Biodiversity Management Committee has the right to stop that. Kerala is the only state where all the panchayat have prepared a people's biodiversity register. Even though there are some which are not complete, biodiversity is now part of a working group in all panchayat. So whenever you prepare a budget, it is mandatory that the panchayat should allocate a fund for the working group of biodiversity. They have constituted a PBR quality evaluation so that PBR will not be made just for the sake. To make the BMC active, you have to take the initiative. Definitely, a person need to be there to coordinate this because most of the panchayat, they have enough and more work. So it's better you be there for them to help out. So instead of sitting out, I would suggest to go talk to the panchayat president. And if they don't know about BMC, so what you do is you contact the biodiversity board, ask the panchayat to constitute a BMC, and we can work on. There are a lot of funds available, I would say. It's not small. It's not small. If you ask me, each year, at least 50 lakhs have been allotted to various state biodiversity board from national level, and even the state government have a separate fund for all these BMC. Only thing is you have to have a proper project proposed to the Kerala State or any state biodiversity board when they are asking for the project. That's it. We should know the timing. We should know when to apply, like all the other grants.
Every time I meet Shyam, I'm also very fascinated by the story. And I'm also very intrigued about how this came to be. So I'm glad that this webinar is happening. And why I'm fascinated really is that Shyam comes from an architecture background, and he somehow managed to get himself into a biodiversity management committee in Kasargod. And from there on, he pushed through and found a way to get the biodiversity management committee to look at restoring this tributary of the Chithari River. To restore this section of the Chithari River. Right? And I think for me, that is really an inspirational story of how, as somebody who wants to just step in and do something, there are avenues that are present, and there is just some ways to kind of push and find your way through. And that in itself is very inspiring for me, and specifically on how the story would have come to be. And I'm sure, as Shyam shares about this work in more detail, there'll be a lot more that we can all take and see how we can work within the systems, within our landscapes around us, and what we could take as, pointers of some ways that we could also take some sort of civic action through through the form of biodiversity management committees or these governance structures that have been in existence but I think are just now waiting to be revitalized in some way. So with that, I will invite Shyam to come online and then, of course, share his presentation. So over to you, Shyam. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Arjun, for that wonderful introduction. I was always happy to be with ERA to have this presentation done. We have been talking this for a while, so I'm really glad to get this opportunity. Thank you, ERA and NCA, for this wonderful opportunity, and also ETRI. Yeah, I will share my screen. So, in this presentation, I am going to present in two sections. One is I will talk first about the Biodiversity Management Committee, and the second part is about how I did the restoration. Now I will not call that restoration because after I attended the conference at Assam, I realized that it was not completely restoration. It was more, just more than planting, but not just planting. So I will be explaining through how I utilize this. So yeah, to get the background, I'm an architect by profession. Uh, I have been into architecture from 2006. I passed out in 2006, and I'm also into birding. I've been birding since 2006. In my college, we had a we had an environmental club, and we published a book called Feathered Friends of Our Campus, in which we documented 126 bird species from the campus. So it was all the starting for me as a birder, as a naturalist. So I will be talking about Biodiversity Management Committee first. Yeah. So when you talk about Biodiversity Management Committee, it's about the Biological Diversity Act 2002. And in this, what are the major objectives of this Biodiversity Act? So these are the three main pillars of Biodiversity Act. The first is the conservation part. The second is sustainable use. And the third is benefit sharing. So in the conservation part, it's about the protection and preservation of biological diversity. In sustainable use, it could be wisely used without long-term decline. And benefit sharing, it's the most important part of BMC as well as Biological Diversity Act is benefit sharing. If you know about the Biodiversity Management Committee, I will get into this benefit sharing a little bit later. It's about the equitable access and sharing. So how this Biological Diversity Act of 2002 has been implemented? It has been implemented in three tier. The institutional mechanism is the first is the national level, which have National Biodiversity Authority or NBA. It's the nodal agency for regulatory functions at the central level. And usually the head offices are usually in Bombay or Delhi. But this time, National Biodiversity Authority has head office in Chennai. And we have state biodiversity boards, SBBs. In Kerala, it's Kerala State Biodiversity Board. And this is the state level agency which coordinate these conservation strategies. And the third one is local level or in each panchayat of Actually, according to Biological Diversity Act, every Panchayat in India should have Biodiversity Management Committee. And it is the grassroots implementation within the local bodies. So, in Biological Diversity Act, I just want to go through legal framework of biodiversity protection, sections, especially sections 36 to 44, so that how we could utilize biodiversity management committee could be known more effectively. So the first is strategies and plans, section 36, 36A and 36B, which states that and promotion. The second section is 37, in which we can notify areas as biodiversity heritage site, BHS, in local areas. The third section 38 is about threatened species, in which we can identify and notify of species on the verge of extinction. And repositories and NTCs. So normally traded commodities, usually commodities which are extracted from nature for commercial use, could be designated, and there should be a system where this could be restored. That is actually very beneficial to us to restore most of the sites. And the other one is BMC itself, the establishment and functioning of biodiversity management committees. And that is section 41. And in section 42, 43, 44, we have biodiversity fund, where we can use, how we can use this fund for biodiversity replenishing, you can say. Yeah. So about the Biodiversity Management Committee, the structure and how can we get into these biodiversity management committees. In biodiversity management committee, earlier it was 9 members. Now it has extended to 11 total members. And it will be the same period as the local body. When the re-election comes, the BMC should be reconstituted. This is the period of BMC. And for Biodiversity Management Committee, the chairperson will be the president of the Panchayat itself, or the chair of the local body. And the member secretary or the secretary will be the secretary of the local bodies. And now there is a rule that half of the members should be women, and there should be one from scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. That's because to have a representation from the indigenous community. And what should be the other members? It should be TK holders, farmers, fisher folk, academicians, and NTFP collectors. These can all be part of Biodiversity Management Committee. And anyone interested in protecting biodiversity can be a member of the BMC. The only thing is, you have to be a person who has a voting right in that particular panchayat. And in Kerala, we have 1,200 local bodies, and in every panchayat, we have biodiversity management committees. In national level, we have 276,688, and in state level, it's 1,200. So what BMC does is, BMC ensure this decentralized governance by involving local communities and traditional knowledge holders in biodiversity management. So the other important part we have to look in BMC is the core functions. So the core functions are conservation, documentation, sustainable use, and levy collection. So in conservation, it's habitats, land races, folk varieties, etc. It's not just about the biodiversity. It's also about biodiversity in culture. We have to understand that part too in the case of Biodiversity Management Committee. And documentation, traditional knowledge, and PBR preparation. That is People's Biodiversity Register. And it is prepared, it is mandatory for a Biodiversity Management Committee to prepare a PBR. So in PBR, what all are going to be documented? In PBR, it's not just about the biodiversity existing here. We have to document the flora, the fauna, and even the traditional knowledge of the people you are using this biodiversity. It's very important. And there is a clause in Biodiversity Biological Diversity Act that whenever we use this traditional knowledge, we have to give a small token to that person who owns this traditional knowledge. The next is sustainable use, managing biological resources. So Biodiversity Management Committee has the right to say no to anyone who is disturbing a landscape, disturbing a biodiversity to a landscape level. So if you ask me, if a person is collecting a lot of biodiversity or any flora from a particular area, Biodiversity Management Committee has the right to stop that. And we can restrict the collection too. And Biodiversity Management Committee in association with Forest Department, they can take legal actions against the person who is collecting these resources in an extent very extensively. So coming back to Kerala, People's Biodiversity Register in Kerala, we have 1,034 till date. And there are 93 PBR which has been updated. That is, there is a second edition of People's Biodiversity Register in Kerala. And now Kerala Biodiversity Board has initiated ePBR to make it all digitalized. So now how we can use this Biodiversity Management Committee is also about LBF sources or Local Biodiversity Fund. So for a BMC, we have 4 types of local biodiversity fund available in Biodiversity Management Committee. One is the government NBA grants, which will be published every year. You can look for the notification and apply for the grant as other private grants available. The next is levies and fees, which is wherever you see a particular flora is taken for a commercial use, we can impose a levy on that particular collected flora to restore the same. And fees also is connected with the levy. So the next is benefit sharing. Benefit sharing is whatever traditional knowledge we have documented in the PBR, we have to give that back to the community which is the author for that particular traditional knowledge. And also there will be some funds allotted for local biodiversity fund from State Biodiversity Board that could also be used for BMC. So how can we use this local biodiversity fund? We can use for conservation and area restoration. We can also use for socio-economic development. And the third, we can also use for the administrative expense of BMC. So in Kerala is the only state where we have all the panchayat have prepared a people's biodiversity register in Kerala, even though there are some which are not complete. That's why out of 1,200, we have only 1,034 PBR available now. And each PBR is done with the help of the experts, even though some are not completely complete, but most of the panchayat have done a good amount of good amount of time spent on preparing the PBR. So in Kerala, we have some panchayat which have done extensively good in terms of conservation. If you look at Tavinyal Grama Panchayat, they have regulated the cutting of Oaklandra, one species which is abundantly found in that panchayat, which has been utilized in excess. They have regulated the cutting of Oaklandra species, and also they have also get a regulation on catching of inland fishes. In Panathadi Grama Panchayat, which is in Kasargod, they have given a regulation of erangol, which is also a species of Oaklandra, and Miss Kerala. You all know Dennis. I'm not getting the scientific name of it. Miss Kerala, you may know the fish, which has been traded internationally as aquarium fish, which is also they have also given a regulation of both Erangol and Miss Kerala. And in Vengapalli Gram Panchayat, they have even get a regulation of quarries. And in Kerala, apart from local Grama Panchayat BMC, we have Biodiversity Management Committee in District Panchayat, even Block Panchayat. they are also doing a coordination of the district level BMCs. And in Kasargod is the first panchayat who have declared the district species to uh, to make more aware of the conservation part of the species, and followed by Kozhikode and Wayanad. In Kasargod, we have declared district flower, which is Crinum malabaricum, and we have declared tree as strychnos, animal as giant soft-shell turtle, and bird as white-bellied sea eagle. And also we have also declared Bedagam coconut, which is a local variety. And also we have a Kasargod Kullan cow, that is which is a breed which is found mostly in Kasargod. Kozhikode has declared flower, tree, heritage tree, animal, water animal, bird, butterfly, and fish. They have declared it in Kasargod declared this in 2023, and Kozhikode declared it in 2024, 25, followed by Wayanad. They have even declared a mammal, bird, butterfly, fish, dragonfly, reptile, amphibian, heritage tree, tree, and flower. So, what are the things KSBB, Kerala State Biodiversity Board, has done for the Act implementation in Kerala? In 2013, they declared BMC as Environmental Watch Group. So, wherever you can see biodiversity being disturbed or taken at all, BMC can act as a watch group which prevent these things in Kerala. It is purely for Kerala State Biodiversity Board, and they have made a state level steering committee in 2018. Made a working group for biodiversity in 2018. So biodiversity is now part of a working group in all panchayat. So whenever you prepare a budget, it is mandatory that the panchayat should allocate a fund for the working group of biodiversity. And they have declared LBHS, Local Biodiversity Heritage Site. In Biological Diversity Act, there is a provision for biodiversity heritage site, which requires a long process. So Kerala has come up with a new bylaw, which states that any area which is rich in biodiversity could be termed as local biodiversity heritage site, which requires less paperwork. It is a important declaration which is done in the for biodiversity. And they have constituted a PBR quality evaluation so that PBR will not be made just for the sake. District Biodiversity Council also they have made, that is District Panchayat BMC have been found in tandem with DBCC. And they have also made virtual biodiversity cadre in 2023 to monitor biodiversity loss through social media. And they have now come up with, since it was all honorary, or BMC doesn't have a fees, they have even introduced a sitting fees for Biodiversity Management Committee as well as TSG. TSGs are technical support group constituted to help these biodiversity management committees around the district. Each district will be having a technical support group, which will help BMC in doing projects related to conservation, and even the documentation of biodiversity is also done with the help of TSG members. So I've come to the end of the first part, which is the Biodiversity Management Committee. You can ask me questions at the end of the presentation. So now move on to my project. So I already told that I'm a bird watcher, and I do a lot of birding in my backyard. I am fortunate to document 217 species of birds from my backyard, not just backyard, just in and around my house, 5 kilometer radius. I have made a hotspot named Peralathil Vayal. And Chithari River is flowing. One of the tributaries of Chithari River is flowing beside this Peralathuvayal. So how it all started was, I've seen a decline of bird diversity in the edges of the streams due to the intervention of these MNREG workers, because they have been assigned to clean these streams, and they virtually clean it and make it like a tile surface. So I was very much worried about the intervention which is done by the MNREG workers. And that point of time, I heard from a friend that there is a committee called Biodiversity Management Committee, which could be useful to intervene in the actions of MNREG workers. That's how I heard about BMC, and I thought how I can be a part of Biodiversity Management Committee, and I contacted the president of Pullur Periya Panchayat, which is the same Panchayat which I was living. So, and he agreed that I could be part of Biodiversity Management Committee, and he even made me convener, because nobody usually comes up and say that, hey, I'm interested in this Biodiversity Management Committee. And I would thank President Arvindakshan for making me this Biodiversity Management Committee convener. That's how it's all started. And when I joined the Biodiversity Management Committee, I got in touch with there is a district coordinator, which is part of Kerala State Biodiversity Board. And I heard that there are a lot of programs, which is a lot of funding also given by Kerala State Biodiversity Board to help biodiversity management committees. So when the next thing I thought was how we can do this restored. That was the next thing which I was more interested in, and I was not having a clue on how to do it. So suddenly, in the meantime, I was working with BMC and trying to understand how the BMC works and everything. And in the meantime, Kerala State Biodiversity Board has put out a notification for the funding of projects in each panchayat. So that actually made me think of to take it as an opportunity. I discussed it with one of my friend who was doing MSc forestry. His name is Srihari. So I discussed with him and asked him how we can do this project. So he was the one who suggested that we will go for a restoration work in that area so that uh, some of the flora can be put back in place. So that particular point of time, I was not aware of how restoration can be done. I'm totally not aware of. I'm familiar with some of the local trees, but I'm not aware of anything close to that particular riparian habitat and all. But I'm fortunate to have Srihari as a backup, and he helped me develop a project to rejuvenate the Chithari River. It was the smallest river in the Kasargod district, which is among the 12 rivers of Kasargod. And it is also one among the rivers which originates from lateritic hillocks. So uh, I asked the Biodiversity Management Committee to put this proposal to Kerala State Biodiversity Board, and we officially mailed the report which me and Srihari made to KSBB, and to our surprise, it got approved. So that was the background of that project. So coming to the context, this is the part of Kasargod where the Chithari River is there. It's only 18-kilometer stretch. It runs through 3 panchayat, and this is Pullur Periya Panchayat, and this is the stretch which we know that it's not possible to think about restoration in the whole stretch, uh, but rather concentrate on a small stretch, which could be a pilot project. And most of the edges are private properties. So this stretch is owned by Pullur Seed Farm. So it will be easier to do restoration in this particular stretch. That's why we restricted the restoration to this 2-kilometer stretch. And we have done a digital survey of that particular area, the edge of the stream, and identify the areas where restoration can be done. So out of that documented 2-kilometer stretch, we have taken 2 stretches where we have this degradation happened to the most. So these are the 2 areas where we selected. So how we did that? It is very important that to do this project, we have to convince the panchayat president. So what I did was I took the panchayat president along with the committee, panchayat member of that area, Narayanatan. He was very keen in helping this carry out. And Aravindan, of course, was very helpful. And we took all of them to just walk along the stream, and I showed them uh, bird diversity during that walk. So they realized that there are a lot of biodiversity in that particular stretch. And that made them convinced that, yes, we should move ahead with the project. So the next stage was to know what actually is there in that 2 kilometer stretch. So we conducted a biodiversity survey along this 2 kilometer stretch with this. We have an NGO called Pullur, and we have a birding group called Parava, which is part of Pullur, which I mentor school children to do birding in their area. So they also came to help us document the flora flora and fauna in that area. Also, Srihari was there who did the floral survey, and we had a butterfly expert, Sri Shanti, which came along for the butterfly part. And also we had Mohammed Hanif, who is also an ordonate expert, to help us with the ordonate diversity. So after doing this biodiversity survey, we found that it's very necessary to give awareness of these biodiversity to MNRG workers. So I sought out the help of two experts, E. Unnikrishnan, who is a teacher, but who has been doing the biodiversity assessment of sacred groves in northern Kerala. He has even written a book called Sacred Groves of North Kerala. I sought his help, and he, along with Professor Gopalan, who is also into biodiversity conservation, to give a talk on the biodiversity of that particular Chithari river to MNREG workers, especially mates. That is who is controlling these MNREG workers. It was Kaivarigal. We had a seminar called Kaivarigal Samrakshika. And also we got help from Central University students to do that. The next was the invasive species. We had Singapore daisy along with Mycenia macrantha, very much spreaded in these tributaries. So we want to create awareness about these invasive species to MNREG workers. So we have an expert called Susmita teacher, who is teacher in botany. She took a class on invasive species in that area to MNREG workers in the nearby Tarwad, where all the MNREG workers had a meeting, regular 1 month meeting in that area. So the next was the removal. To start off with the planting, we took the initiative to get all the MNREG workers in that area, and they helped us removing the invasive species. We have used a little fund from the fund got from Kerala State Biodiversity Board, as well as we have used some fund from the MNREG fund itself. So in the third photo, you can see the Singapore daisy, which has been plucked in that 2 kilometer stretch, which has been heaped here. So the next important task was how to get these native plants, saplings, to rejuvenate this area. What we have done was we have identified 12 species in that area, and that seeds have been collected in this 18-kilometer stretch. And with the help of agro-service center, which is also a government-run nursery in Pullur Periya Panchayat, which is of Kanyangad block, they helped us prepare these saplings, because in this 5 lakhs we don't have enough resource to make a nursery of ourselves. So what we thought was, we will employ a person which is also part of that community, which will help us prepare these plantings. And I would also say a big thank you to Nafisa BV, which is whom we cannot we would not have done this project, because she was so enthusiastic in preparing these native saplings so that we could do the planting at proper time. So she was the one who helped us collect all the seeds from the nearby area and make it sapling and planted in that particular stretch. So to get more attention of the district authorities, we invited Professor Sri Imbashekhar IAS to do the planting inauguration. And also we have invited all the MNREG workers, so that they will have that ownership of each plants which has been planted in the stretch, so that they will not clean the river as they were cleaning it before. So these are the planting inauguration photos. We got almost 150 workers assembled during our planting drive. So even we have invited some of the residents which are living on the edges of this river, and we have asked them to plant, so that they will also have this ownership and they will look after the trees after we plant it. And on the right side photo, you can see that the board which is uh, which is saying about the project, and you can see the planting. This has been after 2 years of planting. Yes, that's what I wanted to share about my experience in BMC, as well as how I managed to do a restoration in that particular 2 kilometer stretch. Yeah.
Thanks, Shyam, for sharing your story and even just giving us that entire background of how the BMC works and what is the distribution like across India. And yeah, we're already seeing a lot of questions on the chat. So first, thank you so much for this. This has been really nice to hear. And we all, of course, have a lot to learn from this as well. Some of the questions that have come up in the chat, and I'm going to just broadly put a few of these questions together so that they kind of make more sense. I think there are about a couple of questions which are really talking about, um, firstly, like when we look at BMCs, are they similar across states, or is it different the way they are the way they're supposed to function? Is there any difference in different states? And a follow-up question to that also is that while there are a lot of BMCs that have been established across multiple states in different localities, um, there is some of them don't seem to be some of them don't seem to be doing I mean, they're not really, I mean, in some way, what the people are saying is that the BMC themselves are not really adhering to the tasks as well, or they could do better, right? So how does one go about engaging in that way? So there are these two broad questions first.
First of all, BMC, in my opinion, the structure of BMC is same in all across the states. The only thing is, in most of the panchayat, there will not be a person who really wants to do something in BMC. That is what happens. In Kerala, if you look at all the BMCs, there are BMCs which performs very well. That very well performed BMCs will be the person who are really, really interested in biodiversity and who really want to make change. So if you are a citizen who have a voting right in your panchayat, you are eligible to be part of BMC. So instead of sitting out, I would suggest to go talk to the Panchayat president. And if they don't know about BMC, you could even talk about BMC, and you can even most of the states have biodiversity board. So what you do is you contact the biodiversity board if you have any help. If you want any help in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, I can help because Kerala State Member Secretary is very close with these two states. I don't know about other states, but you can contact Kerala State Biodiversity Board and ask the Panchayat to constitute a BMC, and we can work on. Definitely, a person need to be there to coordinate this because most of the Panchayat, they have enough and more work. So it's better you be there for them to help out.
Thanks, Shyam. And I
And
think following up
the
to,
next,
sorry,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
you
next
go.
question was.
No, so the first part was, our BMC is the same across India, and are there any state level differences? And I think which you've answered that there are not really that many state level differences as far as you're aware of. And the second part was, what do you do in case BMCs are not as functional, or they may have been established but not functional? And
I've already answered that question, I guess.
but because you mentioned that, there is a possibility of I think somebody, Raju had mentioned this in the chat. He's in Karnataka, most of the Gram Panchayats are not maintaining the BMC. Also, they are not gathering the information. So this is more on the same line. So again, how can we work? Again, the answer to that is that we have to get involved
Yeah,
ourselves.
that act
Yeah.
have to get involved. I must say, if I am not part of that Pullur Periya BMC, that would have been a just a paper BMC. That's it.
Mhm.
And after
Um,
I got into the BMC, I've sought out help from other people who are working in BMC in that area, and I have replaced most of the members with the active one. That's it.
mhm.
We can make it active. That's it.
So I'm just going to give the mic over to Raju for a minute. He's raised his hand, so I've given him permission to ask a clarifying question. So Raju, over to you.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity, first of all. And it was a nice webinar to listen and also learn a lot of things from you guys. And so just have a one doubt because I'm from Karnataka, the part of the Bagepalli Taluka, I mean Chikbalapur district. And see, last 5, 6 years, 7 years back, there was a BMC committee has made it Panchayat. The thing is, without knowing me, I am the member of the BMC, in a Panchayat.
Okay.
My name is there, my signature is there. They have done everything for themselves. But when I joined to the some of the organization, which is a tree NGO, to work in this particular area, grassland restoration, we were gone to inquire regarding the BMC. So when we went on, then we just checked the list of the BMC members, and unexpectedly I was a member in that, even without knowing me. And that's what, most of the people, those who don't know, and also if there's a BMC, need to maintain some of the what you said, the register, right? So what kind of species are there nearby the surrounding local community, and they have to communicate with the local community to get some list of the fauna and flora. So they are not doing it. They are just for the namesake. They're just keeping the committee, and they're just involving themselves in a member of the panchayat. They're just doing what they wanted. So you just need to suggest me because I'm very interested to do this, and also after that I just warn them as well. And next time and all, there is any committee is going to open, just you have to inform, and I will be ready to work with this particular no panchayat regarding the BMC. So then they said that okay, and now I am the member of the BMC, but still I don't have that much knowledge about the BMC. So I just want to know how we can bring this with what's called as a proper.
Actually, BMC, all the information about BMC is available in National Biodiversity Authority website. You can go through what functions and everything in that particular website. There is even handbook for available in that website. Uh, make the BMC active, you have to take the initiative. There is no other way. Even in Kerala, if we are in the back seat, then the BMC will be in back seat. So we have to be active. We have to make sure that most of the cases, we will be the one who initiate, who call the president saying that, yes, we have to make a meeting. Uh, it happens. Nothing can be done in that case. But our district BMC is very active in that case. Rather than in Pullur Periya Panchayat, it's more initiated by myself. But in District Panchayat BMC, they have a good structure. They they have uh, they have mailed us that you are becoming the member of this biodiversity management committee, and all the members of that committee is very active in that manner.
Mm.
So in that case, you have to take the initiative. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Shyam. And I think just because even Raju had brought up this idea of PBRs and maintaining, there's a question here which is on are PBRs, is PBR, is it an open access, is it open access to researchers, general public for research, or as a
No,
local information center?
no, actually, no.
Mm.
PBR are actually not accessible to public. And it is mandatory for biodiversity management to committee to maintain this people's biodiversity register in any panchayat. And why it is not accessible is because of the traditional knowledge. It is not about it's not about the biodiversity thing. It's about the traditional knowledge because we are also collecting this information from tribals about each um, their knowledge, which could be even patented. So if it is available in public, it could be misused. So
Mm.
that's why it's not available. People have a misunderstanding that why it is not available public and all. But in my opinion, and being a part of BMC, I would also prefer that it should not be made public. But you can access that data if you give a written written note. Yes, you can access that data, but you should specify, and you cannot, you have to get all the data in front of the Panchayat president, and it should be verified. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and the reason I find this question really interesting and this an interesting conversation also is that because BMCs, like you said, BMCs can be across India in multiple places across districts, and it can be very small to large, right? And I find that if, for example, there are ways for getting this data available, especially if, let's say, for restoration itself, it might be so nice to know which plants are growing where, and might make our jobs also easier in trying to figure that out. So I find that that could play a very important role, but I understand where you're coming from in this. Okay, just add just a few more questions on BMC itself. So I think there's a clarifying question from Bibu Prasad here, saying that the dedicated person you were talking about of BMC is a paid one, is it? And secondly, all Gram Panchayats in the state have BMC, or is there any criteria for having a BMC?
No, every state and every panchayat in every state should have a BMC. That's a mandatory thing according to 2002 Biological Diversity Act.
And there's just two more questions on the actual so there's one which can cities have BMC? No, or is that not? Cities
Yeah.
can also. Okay.
Yes. Every municipality, every panchayat, every corporation, every local self-government should have a BMC.
Okay. And lastly, there was a question that came on the chat. There are two questions on the chat actually. One is that can somebody who is a foreign national with an OCI card holder be a part of the BMC in any way?
No, no,
No.
no,
Not even as an expert or anything else.
no, no.
Okay. And the last question on the chat around BMC is from Aditya. He asks, how much funds are available for a BMC-led restoration project? And taking your project as an example. And also, do you know possibilities of BMC convergence with other local communities, such as Forest Rights Management Committee? And yeah.
Actually, it's a very relevant question. There are a lot of funds available, I would say. It's not small. It's not small. If you ask me, each year, at least 50 lakhs have been allotted to various Kerala State Biodiversity Board from national level, and even the state government have a separate fund for all these BMC. Only thing is you have to have a proper project proposed to the Kerala State or any State Biodiversity Board when they are asking for the project. That's it. We should know the timing. We should know when to apply, like all the other grants. That's it.
So, Shyam, in your presentation, you also showed that, you're kind of restoring this 12-kilometer stretch that is there. And you said that the river, of course, flows, I mean, is coming from slightly higher up. Now, I wonder, has there ever been like projects which are initiated between multiple BMCs for the entire river, or that kind of coordination that can happen? Or what are
Actually,
your
yes.
thoughts on that? Yeah.
Yes. Actually, yes. We did this stretch as a pilot project, and now it's not over. We have fund allocated for that stretch, not completely over. So we are thinking about a proper restoration this time instead of just planting just 12 trees. Instead, we are thinking of what do you say? Selecting a sample site in the whole stretch uh, where the riparian habitat is not degraded.
Hmm.
So we are trying to take it as a sample, and uh, now uh, we are going to document the stretch and identify all the floral diversity of that area, and that will be replicated in this area. That is the idea now, to restore a small patch in the next stage. And also thinking of connecting it with other panchayat. 3 panchayat are in that particular stretch. And also I got a grant from Surich to document the flora of that particular river. We have documented 340 species, and
No.
it published in JOT, Journal of Threatened Taxa.
I'm sure that will be something which will be very useful for us as well. So
Yes.
we'll definitely reach out for that. But I think that's amazing to know that this is the kind of work that's going on. And plus, I think when you talk about upstream and downstream connectivity, especially for a river, I think sometimes we miss that we are actually all connected in this particular way. Just moving on a little bit towards the restoration questions, because we've talked bunch about BMCs. And if there's time later, then we'll go back to one or two more of these questions that have come on BMC. Um, so first is like when you talk about how long did the restoration project take from conception to implementation, and what were some of the most difficult parts for you in implementing this in this project? So these questions are from Nikshap, so they were asking that. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, started this restoration project in, I think, in 2021.
Hmm.
The project was submitted in 2020, and we got approved in 2021. Mid we got approved, and 22 onwards we started not planting, basically removal of invasive species has done in 3 stages: before before monsoon, just after monsoon, and in Feb also. We have done invasive species removal in 3 stages, but still it's very tough to remove Singapore daisy from that particular area. I don't know how how we do that, but we have tried planting buffalo grass in the place where we have plucked out Singapore daisy. It has worked a little bit, not much, and then we from 2023 onwards we have been doing this in every year. We will replace this most of the plantings which are gone, and also there are cattles which will be grazed. There are a lot of issues in between. The major thing is the planting part in the sense not planting the nursery part. Even though we had the help of agro-service center, we are not able to get all the species.
Hmm.
It's really tough to get the, and we have even ordered some seeds from KFRI, and it is not sprouting. Oh my God, what to say? It's a lot of things, but it's fun. It's really a learning experience to how how we should do. So what now what we are thinking is uh, we will identify first, document this sample sites, and then list out all the species, and we will there are a lot of sacred groves which is close to these streams, and just beyond this sacred grove there are area which are open areas where uh, some of the uh, some of the saplings will be available just after monsoon. So
Hmm.
we are thinking we will collect, but carefully, not to disturb that sacred group. Instead, we will collect uh, very carefully these saplings and grow in the nursery and then plant. That is the idea now.
Thank you for that. Shab, just a few more. I'm sorry. I know we are over time, and I want to check. Would you be available for maybe two, three more questions?
No, no, no worries, no
Yeah.
worries.
So I think on the lines of what you've shared earlier,
Hmm.
right? That it was really difficult to remove the invasive species. And I think there's a more specific question from Aarti on this is how successful was the removal of the invasive species and how were they disposed and did they ever make a comeback and was a strategy created for such a situation?
Yeah, it is not successful as
Hmm.
usual, but we have been successful in removing at least 50 percentage of it.
Hmm.
Can say not more than 50 percentage.
Hmm.
What we did was we put it on top of the road itself and
Hmm.
not anywhere close to the soil, so that it will not be climbing in the other areas. That is
Hmm.
the strategy. And we have made it cover with the polythene bag so that it will decay it inside, and uh, then put it in barrel so that it will be stringed to very small extent, and then we have to burn it. No other way. Yeah.
Thanks, Shyam. And I think now we are back to more questions around BMC again. So there are two questions around. One is volunteer organizations, can they work with BMCs? And on the same lines, can people also volunteer with BMCs?
BMC is actually volunteering.
Hmm.
There is no money involved in BMC, so you have to volunteer for sure. And volunteering, yes, you can volunteer. What is volunteering team can work along with BMC to do. Most of the cases in preparing PBR and all, most of the cases we ask help from the NSS or NSS clubs and other organizations to help us with this PBR. So yes, of course.
And I think this is also more to do with the question of, a lot of people who can't become BMC members because they're not necessarily from the place that they're living in, but maybe they want to volunteer the time. So that also, I'm guessing, can be
Yeah, yeah,
possible.
can be. You cannot be a permanent part of BMC, but you can always volunteer. No worries. The only thing is you have to identify a person who have that heart to work with BMC, which
Hmm.
is Panchayat, and make him a member
Hmm.
and support him.
Yeah. So last question, and then of course, last two questions really is that this one is from Deepak, and again going back to the discussion on EPBRs. So Deepak asks, in case of EPBR, as mentioned in your presentation, how how is the secrecy of traditional ecological? How is this secrecy of the traditional knowledge? How will that be maintained? How does that happen?
Yeah, EPBR, they are developing a new app and website for that.
Hmm.
So public is not allowed to access.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for that. And Deepak, if you have any clarifying questions, please raise your hand and we'll unmute you because I'm not sure if we managed to get exactly what you wanted out of this question. Um, and the last question, the last thing is, of course, Shyam, this is something that Nikship is asking, but I think it's a question for almost all of us. One is, can we share your contact details, at least your email ID, with the members, with the people on the call here, and those who registered for your talk, in case they have more specific questions for you.
Yeah,
So one
I
is
will.
that.
You can share, Arjun. You
Yeah.
can share. I have actually at the end of the presentation, I have prepared a slide with my contact details. If you want, I can share it now.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it'll be nice if you can just share it and then we'll put it in the chat itself. Right.
You can.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And the second question that I have is, can we share your presentation also? Because it has some interesting material in terms of how the BMC is structured and things like that, which people might like to refer to.
Hmm. If you find it, if it is not used unwisely, yes, you can share it. No
Okay.
worries.
Okay, so what we'll do is, I mean, this webinar anyway will have the presentation slides in it, so that's
Yeah,
also fine.
yeah,
And this, your number and contact details can be shared directly with participants afterwards.
yeah,
Then we'll keep it like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Sham. I think that was it from us from all the questions. Thank you so much for this presentation, for coming on board and sharing about your work and the journey that you've taken.
It is
So
my pleasure, Arjun, and thank you, Era, for um, what is this opportunity, and hope it helps.